Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to talk about large language models, and it has been quite a topic of discussion for some time. People are investing heavily into large language models or AIs or generative AIs. So let's understand what's the new buzz is all about. So large language models and generative AI, this is something that's going around for quite some time, and companies like Microsoft and all other major companies, farm companies even, they are investing heavily. In fact, the service industries, they are also investing into AI, and they are finding new innovative ways by which AI, with the help of LLMs and generative AI, they could use some kind of innovative methods to help business organizations in solving their use cases. Fundamentally, large language models are subset of our deep learning, and in fact, the generative AI is also a part of the deep learning. Now, deep learning is technically a subset of machine learning. Machine learning is the capability of where the machine learns from some kind of a data set or some kind of an algorithms where it learns more and more. And it's totally based upon the data set that we provide. And then the machine learning actually kicks in and helps computer to understand a particular topic or a particular subject or something like that. We can't really go into details of machine learning because that's beyond the scope of this particular video. But if we try to visualize it, the machine learning has a subset of deep learning, and deep learning has technically two subsets. One is the generative AI and one is the large language model. Now in between, if I use the intersection, that's where the what you call as this whole stuff lies between the LLM as well as the generative AI. You might have heard about OpenAI or ChatGPT, which is one of the large language models to work around, and different companies are investing into other large language models also. Now, large language models, they could be actually pre-trained, and they could be fine-tuned for a specific purpose. When I say pre-trained is normally a general purpose large language model. So for example, I want to ask about let's say what is a C# language. So it probably it's a general concept that the large language model would hold, and it could give information about that. Now fine-tuned for specific purposes are meant for certain industries, for where we could use a subset of a large language model to actually implement some kind of a solution for that specific industry. Now, when we say pre-trained, pre-trained could be just like if I just want to say we can train a dog with some basic commands. For example, I can train a dog to sit, I can train a dog to come, and I can train a dog to sit down also. So that's something where a dog could be trained for some particular command. So this is a kind of a pre-trained model or a general purpose model that exists. Now, the other model, which is a special purpose model, is more likely dogs could be trained for different purposes also. For example, a dog can have a special training, which could be leading to a hunting dog or a police dog or even a training dog that could be specialized trained for that. Now, these special purposes LLMs, they are smaller in size because they are a subset of a large language model, a general purpose model, and they could be actually trained for some specific purposes only. Now, LLMs are primarily used for solving common problems like text classification. You can have document generation, you can have a document summarization, you can have question and answers, like I can ask a question, it can answer you that in a form of a generative one. It could also help you to generate a document. Even you might have heard about ChatGPTs. It could actually help you to move and create let's say websites for you, or generate documents for you, or generate resumes for you. So that's what LLMs could be used for. Now, LLMs could also be used for some very specific problem. Like these are the ones which was the second part that I was talking about, like a specific training for that. Dog could be trained for some specific use cases, like a smaller data set of a large language model, and specific training for problems of different verticals with a smaller data set. Might be, let's say, we want to solve some issues relating to a retail industry or relating to a finance industry. So we could create a subset of the large language model, fine tune it. It's for a specific special purpose model, and then it could be leveraged across different verticals: retail, finance, education, and there's a plethora of lists that could be used. Okay. There are a few properties which we need to know about the large language models. The large language models are huge in size. When we talk about the size, we are talking about petabytes, we are talking about zettabytes, we are not talking about terabytes or gigabytes. They are very, very large data sets. And they have a large number of parameters. Normally, the parameters within the large language models are called as hyperparameters. Hyperparameters are nothing but the memories and knowledge learned from the machine learning. So that's what we kind of call those parameters. And they are very much general purpose. Common problems can be handled, like languages are very much common, and they could also be very much special, that is pre-trained and fine-tuned models. So these are primarily some properties of the large language models. When we talk in terms of the development life cycles, or the programmatically, if we want to use large language model development or traditional development, the large language model development is very much easy and not much complex as compared to the traditional ML development. So if we talk about the LLM development using pre-trained APIs, so fundamentally we don't need an ML expertise. We don't need any kind of a special training examples. No need to train a model, because the model is already there. A general purpose model is already there. In fact, I have created certain kind of a models where I have used my own, let's say, resume as a model to actually answer queries based upon my resume. So for example, I can ask, what is the age of Rohit, what is the height of Rohit. So if that information is in my resume, it could actually be trained and could be utilized for that. I'll be coming up with those practical videos also, but right now this video is more about theoretical concept of large language model. And the large language model, of course, it thinks about a prompt design. So it asks you a question, you can ask a question, it gives you a generative response. You can further chain a question and then ask on the further one. Whereas the traditional ML development was entirely different. You need to have a machine learning expertise. You need training models. I have actually deployed some models using the old traditional method of where I would train my model by supplying some kind of a data. And we definitely need to train a model. And yes, it requires a huge compute time and a hardware. Of course, even in case of large language models, you definitely need some kind of a computing power. Of course, you might have heard about NPUs, neural processing units, that particularly every company is investing, the hardware companies are investing for supporting these kind of artificial intelligence, let's say, processes or anything. And things about minimizing a loss function. Now, loss function means when you try to train a model, how much learning it has grasped from that model. So let's say it has grasped 80% or 90%. That's what it is, their loss function is. So technically, the traditional ML would be there to kind of make sure we are going to reduce or we are going to mitigate the loss function, so that we can maximize the learning ability from the machine learning. Okay, there are few. I think so. People definitely know, but I still wanted to touch base on OpenAI, the large language models available. OpenAI is one of them. Microsoft has invested almost $10 billion into OpenAI. They have a ChatGPT, which is a generative pre-trained transformers. When you talk about transformers are nothing but a kind of a neural network that helps you to kind of generate AI and other responses based upon that. So a lot of people have heard about it. Microsoft popularly uses this through the help of Copilot. If you see Copilot within your Microsoft Edge or even Azure OpenAI, they are using ChatGPT at the backend. Now, Google has a couple of them, Gemini, PLM2. So that's what their set of, I would say, effort on the large language models. And Llama 2 is primarily from Meta. You could actually deploy it locally, also a private version of that. So you could train your own information through your own custom documents or data sets on it. Technically, large language models are fundamentally now becoming very, very important part of our life. It could generate anything for you. Actually, you need to be creative enough to think about what you really want out of that. But this could do a lot of good things for you. Even we could train out, like I could use langchains. Langchains are another way of working with large language models, where I can even use the large language models to work on a custom data set. For example, I want to write a natural language processing, write a query in a simple English, and it actually returns the data in the form of a generative AI from a database, from a document. Like I was talking about, I could write a query about myself from my resume, and it would generate that text for me and provide it to you. So I'll be posting more videos about LangChains, but right now we are more concerned about LLMs and large language models. So that's how things work. And there are other models also. This is just a small list which I have given you, but Amazon and other companies, they are also investing into their own large language models. And if you see the ChatGPT 3 and ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 4 is going to be 570 times larger than ChatGPT 3. So if you see the number of the parameters, which we were talking about, memories and other aspects, that's what the number of parameters are like. You could see the number of parameters that's gonna be supported by ChatGPT 4 as against the ChatGPT 3. So I hope, guys, this is a very basic introductory video on large language models, and we could actually use large language models to build up different kinds of applications. I've already created a small video. I'll provide you the link within the description of this particular video, where I've shown you how to connect the with the OpenAI, create an account, get the API key, and then actually use that through the programmatical purposes, right? And there could be like so many other use cases that which you could use. I'm planning to do videos on LangChains, where I would show you how you could use natural language to actually write queries and for databases from a document, from a CSV, JSON, or PDF, and then generate the generative AI from that. So I hope, guys, this video is something that would help you to kickstart off your journey into large language models and generative AI. I'll be coming back with more videos, so please stay tuned and have a good one. Thank you.